Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel that is Literature Holic. In this video, we are going to talk about forms of poetry. But before to discuss about different types of poetry, let's discuss few basic points. Whenever we talk about poetry, remember that there are two forms which need to be discussed. What are those forms? As you are seeing on the screen that there are two types or two forms of poetry. Number one, subjective, and number two, objective. What is subjective form of poetry and what is objective form of poetry? What are the differences between these two? We will talk about these points in this video. So let's begin. What is subjective form of poetry? Subjective form of poetry is that kind of poetry in which poet talks about himself. In which, number one point, in which poet talks about himself. What does it mean? It means that it is closely connected or related with the poet's feeling or emotion or his thoughts. Basically, the subjective form of poetry deals with the poet's own thought, his own emotions, his own feelings. It deals with what poet personally thinks and feels within. Okay, so when he talks about his feeling, his emotions, his thought, so it becomes highly personal in nature. Okay, the subjective form of poetry deals with the poet's own thought, his own feelings, and his own emotions. It deals with what the poet personally thinks and feels within. Okay, so when he talks about himself, when he expresses his feelings and emotion, then it means that the form of the poetry is subjective. And how will he discuss or how he will express his emotions? He will express his emotions by using the first person pronoun. Means whenever poet uses I and we in a poem, then it means that the form of the poetry is subjective. Okay. So when he expresses his emotions, his feelings, and his imaginations, so the treatment of the subject matter will become highly personal. So how he will deal the subject matter? He will deal the subject matter, the treatment of the subject matter will be personal because he will express his emotions, his imagination, or his feelings. In subjective form of poetry, there are four types, four forms, that is sonnet, lyric, elegy, and ode. These four forms come under the category of subjective form of poetry. And the next point is that examples in subjective form, there are so many examples, but uh, here examples are William Shakespeare's Let Me Not to the Marriage of Two Minds and John Milton's On His Blindness. So next we have objective form of poetry. What is objective form of poetry? Objective form of poetry is that kind of poetry in which poet talks about the other peoples. Basically, it is the record of the poet's keen observations and experiences about the things which he sees around him. Whatever he sees around him, whatever he experiences around him, whatever he observes around him, he expresses those feelings in his poem. And how he expresses those feelings by using the third person pronoun, and what are the third person pronoun? He, she, it, or they. Whenever poet uses these words, these pronouns, this third person pronoun he, she, it, they, it means that the form of the poetry is objective. Impersonal treatment of the subject matter. What does it mean? It means that the treatment of the subject matter will be impersonal, because whatever poet expresses, whatever poet experiences, or whatever he reveals, he will use he will use the third person pronoun. So it will be the feeling of the third person pronoun, so it will be the objective form of poetry. And in objective form of poetry we have epic, mock epic, ballad, and dramatic monologue. As far as matter is concerned, with examples, John Milton's Paradise Lost and Alexander Pope, The Rape of the Lock, are the best example of objective form of poetry. So remember that whenever we talk about forms of poetry, we have two forms: subjective forms and objective forms. And and sonnet, lyric, and elegy come under the category of subjective form of poetry, and epic, mock epic, and ballad and dramatic monologue will come under the category of objective form of poetry. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, then please like it and do share it. I will be back soon with another video which will be on sonnet. Till then, please do subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching my video.